Okay, let's go.
So here's a street light, and there's the moonlight. A light and another light. And they say the moon is a reflection of the sun's light. But look, that's a light, and that's obviously a light. If you think the moon is a reflection of the sun's light and not its own light, you're out of your mind. So street light, moonlight. So for one, the moonlight is measurably cooler than the shadow, because the moon, it's a light. It actually casts shadows. So it actually casts really crisp shadows. So the moonlight is measurably cooler than the moon shadow. Also, the moon gives off more gamma than the sun. So if this moon is a reflection of the sun's light, how does it give off more gamma? So that's the moon. It's the cool light. The sun is the warm light. The moon is the pulling. The sun is the giving. The moon, or Luna, is the feminine. The sun is the masculine. It's all energy they're trying to disconnect us from. So the moon isn't a dusty rock in outer fake space. No one can't land on it. Can't land on the moon. No one's ever landed on the moon. It's a luminary. It's a light in the sky. It's the lesser light to rule the night. Also, the moon stands for months. So the lunar cycle is 28 days. There's 13 moon cycles in the year. 13 times 28 is 364. We live in a perfect clock and calendar.
What if I told you that radar proves that the Earth is flat? Hear me out. So a radar device is sending out radio waves, usually in the frequency of microwaves, and a 360 pulse, a 360 sweep. And then that electromagnetic field, that pulse, creates this field of information that can receive and transmit information. And then it determines where anything is within that electromagnetic field based off of how long it takes for that wave to transmit back to the device that's sending out the electromagnetic pulse. Well, it's a radial pulse. A radial pulse. And that's what the Earth is. It's a giant electromagnetic realm, a torus field. And if you looked at it from the top down, that's literally what a flat Earth would look like. So the radar technology is literally mimicking the technology of the Earth and using its electromagnetic field to pick up information and then determine what the weather patterns are. But then, oh, flat Earth is a myth. Like, come on. Can you not see the connections here? It's all looking pretty similar, isn't it? But yeah, the radial pulse travels in straight lines in a 360 degree in every single direction. But it's only in a straight line, so it being able to go over the curvature of the Earth doesn't quite make any sense to me. And if it makes sense to you, then that's perfectly fine. And if you have some justification of how that's even possible, then please say so in the comments. But I believe that the Earth is flat. And all those radio pulses, that kind of looks like the Earth and its tides.
You guys remember that song by the Red Hot Chili Peppers called Californication? There's a lyric in there. There's a line. Space may be the final frontier, but it's made in a Hollywood basement. So here's a picture that they give us from Mars.
Who's they?
NASA. This is from Devon Island in Canada.
Who gave you those photos? Because those are the same picture, colored differently, with no sources on them.
Okay, you got me. In fact, I cannot prove the legitimacy of these photos, or this photo right here, or this one right here. Because where these photos used to belong, as you can see, the cosmic object you were looking for has disappeared beyond the event horizon. they were scrubbed. Yes, these are the exact same photo after selecting auto tone in Photoshop.
Devon Island is real though. If I zoom in this isolated region of Canada, I can find a research base with NASA equipment. I mean, look at this, a NASA sticker. This is Google Earth. You can go check it out. Over here, you can see a van with a NASA sticker. This says Mars over here.
Thanks for clarifying this, because that's what the whole conspiracy is about. We know that NASA is on Devon Island, and we know that all the pictures that they take for Mars are from Devon Island.
Very similar to Mars. These are real photos. Here's Devon Island. Here's Mars.
What's your source? Those are real photos? Is your source NASA? Okay, even if this photo has zero legitimacy whatsoever, let's see why we should trust NASA.
It looks like you're in a studio, maybe in Omaha, Nebraska or something. The shot is so clear. Is this a hoax? Are you really in space still? See the hair?
Yeah, no, we definitely see your hair there, and we see it going completely straight up because it's hairspray. Why aren't your chains floating? Let's keep on rolling, though. Let's have a look at this harness grab. Why does he grab a harness? I thought they should be just floating in space. Look at him grab the harness. Clearly, he's grabbing the harness. It's plain as day. This guy's just picking up and moving objects at will. Got this dude floating in the background. That's a harness. That's another harness, guys. Look at that. Just floating away with his harness. There's the disappearing man. Oh, what happened there? Whoa. It's magic. Must be because they're in space. Yeah, that makes sense. This dude, pulling apart a screw, drops on the ground. Watch it drop on the ground. Why isn't it floating? Let's have a look at the technology we went to the moon with that would cost $22 billion to build today. This is what we went to the moon with, guys. How did a billion-dollar organization like NASA lose this technology and we can't go back to the moon? And you think we're taking pictures of Mars? It's hysterical. That is tinfoil. There's more tinfoil for you. This is what you think we went to the moon with. Yeah, okay. Let's believe NASA, guys. That's a good source. And I'll leave you with this. This is what Mars really looks like under a Nikon P1000. Camera that was discontinued after involvement with NASA. Does this look like a physical object to you guys? Don't believe people like this. More than likely paid to deceive humanity. What the stars and the planets really are. They're frequencies of light within the waters above, just like all of our ancestors told us. And the real truth to everything is found within. Peace and love.
We never landed on the moon. That's my thought of the day. No way. Don't believe it. Back in the late 60s, early 70s, they say we went a bunch of times. We have video footage. That video footage of them on the moon is better quality than me FaceTiming my wife from around the corner. And Richard Nixon talked on the phone to people on the moon, and my cell phone can't call anyone from my basement? Give me a break. No way.
It looks like you're in a studio, maybe in Omaha, Nebraska or something. The shot is so clear. Is this a hoax? Are you really in space still?
See the hair? See the hair?
Oh yeah, we see your hair, and we can totally see the hairspray that is quite obviously in your hair. But that's not even the worst part of this video. Now keep your eyes right here. He obviously pulls on something, a wire harness, something. And then there's this guy who's handling something invisible and then putting it on the shelf where it's obviously supposed to go. And then there's this guy who's just casually floating back and forth just to show we're in space, in case you forgot. And then we have this guy here. It's the incredible disappearing astronaut. What just happened there? Now this astronaut is looking like he's trying to demonstrate something, so he goes to pull out a screw and drops it. And here we have Tom Cruise in the first Mission Impossible movie wearing a harness. Oh no, it's just an astronaut wearing a harness. Check this one out. This dude totally gets his leg stuck. Look right there. Here, I had to show it again. Look at that. Now, we all know that they do actually train astronauts underwater to mimic what it's like to be in outer space. But in this next footage here, it's supposed to be a spacewalk, when you can clearly see in the reflection what looks to be a scuba diver taking the video.
Sometimes, something a little different happens.
Whoops, I'll get it.
Sometimes,
So this clip is someone pushing former President George Bush through a NASA site. When you look behind, you see, what is that? And something green floating, almost looks like a studio green with studio blue. Oh, this is the finished product, and that's supposed to be the water. And speaking of which, here's someone doing a pretty poor job of editing a very similar shot. That's how water works.
With there were very few.
Steve, you're in the shot, Steve.
Vibrations of any sort.
Get out the shot.
Steve, there were very few.
Larry, we gotta fire Steve again.
Vibrations of any sort.
This crew attempted a spacewalk outside the station. Here's a live look at the astronauts.
Whoops.
Well, I don't believe. I don't think that's. Yeah.
Where's their spacesuit?
And did you know that in space, your head can disappear for a few seconds? Wow, how did he do that? That's amazing. I didn't know astronauts were also magicians. Oh my gosh, you guys, look how everything is floating. Look at that. Oh, except the water. Don't look at that. I don't know what this guy's holding, but it is super heavy. Look, he almost drops it in space and it goes straight down. Oh my gosh, it's so heavy. Larry, how's it going up there? Yeah, you got that tuna can I sent you? Great. Oh my God, Larry, what happened? Larry, we lost you. Well, we have your head, but not your body. Larry.
I'm Don Pettit. I'm a NASA astronaut, and I'm on the International Space Station.
Give me a summary of what the mission goals are for your time on orbit and what responsibilities and jobs are going to be yours when you're up there.
Well, I'm one of the science guys, and I'm one of the repair guys. And fortunately, there's lots of science and lots of repair to do on station, so that will certainly keep us all busy.
Give me a couple of examples, if you would, of some of the human life sciences experiments that you're going to be involved with on this flight.
Well, living and working in space go along with doing science experiments in space. And so we would stretch our clothing out longer than what it was initially intended. Initially, we were to wear a pair of underwear and socks and a t-shirt for 3 days, and having no way to wash these aids in a weightless environment, then they're just discarded as rags to mop up stuff, and then finally discarded with a fiery deorbit trajectory into Earth's atmosphere. We stretched our clothing out to 8 to 10 days. And we would wait until we started to get a little rash around our waist before we change our underwear. And that was sort of our signal that says, hey, I think it's time to get a new pair of skivvies. And we did this voluntarily. We did this with a sense of humor because it was necessary in this frontier environment to preserve these resources for future crews. We had a problem on one of our spacewalks where we were trying to unfold a beam that supports some lights on the outside of space station. And this beam was folded up into its launch, for its launch state. And we were supposed to go out there. It's supposed to be a simple task where we just unfold it so it could be useful. Well, it was stuck. We couldn't get it to unfold. And we actually gave up on that spacewalk. And then we came back on another spacewalk sometime later with a solution on how we were going to unfold this beam. And what we had was a hammer. And we had gotten permission from the flight directors on the ground to get out this big honkin' hammer that we have, which we had to borrow from the Russians because they had it on the Russian side of space station. And the hammers we tend to have on the NASA side of the space station might be something that a jeweler would use to repair a watch, you know, a very precise little dainty hammer that you could do precision pounding with. So we borrowed this Russian hammer, and we went out on our spacewalk with this big hammer, and we had permission to start beating on this piece of spaceflight hardware. And again, this is a hardware that when it's on the ground, you have to treat it with gloves on. Literally, you have to handle it with gloves. And so we were out there with this hammer beating on this stanchion, and it finally broke loose, and we were able to put it in its final and useful configuration. You have a whole series of O-rings in here, and a shaft that you rotate.
So, I mean, like on the space station, how many of these would you have?
7, because we have 7 windows.
What happens if you get a leak on that?
Then you have a leak.
You just have a leak.
And what you would do is...
You lose air.
Got him! Yeah, you would probably seal the whole cupola off. And then there's probably a plan. I don't know off the top of my head, but there's probably a plan. I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
When you said that just now, did it sound stupid to you?
Kind of.
And I'll kind of sum it up by saying you have to have a bit of a sense of humor and allow things to change from what you originally thought they might be.
A phenomenon that does not occur on a spherical Earth. Night on the right and day on the left.
The Flat Earth map dates back over 1,000 years. This map is credited to being created by a Persian astronomer. His name was Al-Biruni, and he lived between 973 AD to 1048 AD. It's the official map of the United Nations and also the United States Geological Survey. It used to be present in many places before the creation of NASA and the Antarctic Treaty in 1959. Here you see it with Admiral Byrd. This map has been restored by Dmitry from Russia with suggestions of mine, Eddie Alenkar. Known by my YouTube channel Flat Earth Banjo, I asked Dmitry to include the Bermuda Triangle and Point Nemo, a place deep in the Pacific where NASA buries rockets. Then Robert Tozzi, a professional mapmaker, came along and enhanced the map even more. There are many people now selling this map online, but if you could order it from my online store, I would greatly appreciate it. Visit my online store now and order one of the items. I humbly thank you.